How is it going, everyone, and welcome back to another Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. And in today's video we're going to be ranking reinforcements from the worst to the best. As a lot of you guys requested this, seeing as we have two new reinforcements in Battlefront 2 that came in the most recent update. Those of course being the Ewok Hunter and the ISB Agent. Now, since I last ranked reinforcements, there has been a ton of nerfs and buffs, most significantly the nerf to the Ovissian Gunner, which I did have at number 1 last time. Also, some reinforcements now have different blasters, so this ranking is certainly well worthwhile updating, as just about the entire reinforcement roster has been shaken up and changed in a big way over the past 2 months. Now, I did see a lot of people ask me to re-rank heroes considering all the big hero changes recently, so if you do want to see that, then be sure to let me know down in the comments and drop a like on this video. Now, before we get into it, this is obviously just my opinion and it's obviously not going to line up directly with yours, and that's okay. Just go ahead and let me know your rankings down in the comments, and this was honestly just the hardest reinforcement ranking video to put together that I've ever done. No matter what way I ranked these reinforcements, it just felt wrong having some of them so low, so just bear that in mind throughout the video. But now anyway, let's dive into this, and kickstarting off the video at number 15 as the worst reinforcement in Battlefront 2 is the Flame Trooper. Now, calling the Flame Trooper the worst feels kind of harsh because they aren't bad at all. And that's one important thing to keep in mind throughout the video. I think all of the reinforcements are actually really good, but some are just better than others. Now, the reason I have the Flame Trooper last is because it is perhaps the most limited and situational reinforcement of them all. The range of the Flame Trooper is pretty horrible, so you can only really use them in those claustrophobic maps, and even when you're on those maps, they don't really do anything that any other reinforcement can't do. But all three of their abilities, the Imploder, Fortify, and Overload, they are all very solid. It's just the Flame Trooper is a really unique reinforcement, and because of that, they are limited. But now moving on to the number 14 spot is the B2 Super Battle Droid. Now, I've always thought that the B2 Super Battle Droid lurked in the lower half of reinforcements, and giving them a good run before recording this video, I'm still feeling that way. They are far from bad, I want to make that clear. They are great in long hallways and choke points, and their Overload ability can melt, and their Fortify ability allows you to stay in the action and can save you big time. And of course, as always, you have to watch out for those wrist rockets. But the B2 Super Battle Droid does lack in some areas, but it is however still very, very decent. So just don't be fooled by the low ranking, they have to go somewhere. And moving on to number 13 are the Jump/Jet Troopers. Now, I have ranked these separately in the past, as some have been better than others because of different blasters. Now, some did actually get new blasters with the recent update, and I feel like because of that, they're all on really even playing fields right now. Now, these guys are fun, and you can go on serious streaks with them. Their mobility is just about unparalleled, and the Jump Pack rocket launcher combo takes me back to the Battlefront 2015 days, and that's always a great thing. So you can't really go too wrong with the Jump/Jet Troopers, but they do have quite low health and they can be very vulnerable at times, especially when you cross paths with heroes. But now moving on to number 12 is the Caphex Spy. Now, I did actually rank these guys a lot higher a couple months ago, but that was probably the hype talking. But nevertheless, it is still a really, really good reinforcement. The orbital strike outside is really great fun to use. The truncheon attacks give you those Jyn Erso vibes, and the rapid fire ability is actually pretty insane if you are accurate and can completely melt anything. As for the main blaster, the GLIE-44, it's not bad, but it's not great. I've always felt like the blaster fire may be a little bit too slow, but overall, I think the Caphex Spy is very solid and a fun reinforcement. They don't really have a lot of downsides, but at the same time, they don't really excel at anything either. They're just solid. And on to number 11 now is the Droideka. Now, the Droideka for me still suffers from the one thing that probably will never change, and that is the transforming animation being a little bit too slow. Now, you aren't as vulnerable as you used to be, but considering if you don't have your shield, you can't really run or dodge away from danger. You need to transform to get away or just crawl at a turtle's pace, which, given the fast-paced nature of Battlefront 2, is not ideal. Now, all of the abilities are really good for the Droideka. I don't have any complaints with them, but the only thing holding the Droideka back is the fact that, it's a Droideka. The slow movement when you aren't in Rolly Boy form and the transform times, it does hold them back a little bit, but having said that, they are still very, very good. And moving on to the number 10 spot now is the brand new ISB Agent. Now, I'm not letting the hype get to me this time. I have played the crap out of the ISB Agent since she came out the other day, and I have to say, she's pretty good. But it does feel like she is just lacking in that one devastating ability. It feels like she should have some form of thermal detonator or something like that. I don't know if that's just me, but even with that in consideration, I still think the ISB Agent is a very solid reinforcement. The new dual wielding mechanics brought in with the last update, they do take some getting used to, but I think it's working great and the ISB Agent benefits well from it. Now, the melee kicking and jumping is just awesome. I absolutely love that. The assault training ability is great for legging it away from enemies with damage reduction and increased speed. Like if you run into an Anakin and choose life, you can just activate it and leg it to save you, and I love that. Also, the Imperial Intel ability is a nice little wall hack, and the double your effort ability is good for playing supportive. So the ISB Agent, I think the ISB Agent's pretty great, but it's not really setting the game alight or anything like that. And now on to number 9 is the First Order Jet Trooper. Now, I don't actually rank the First Order Jet Trooper with the other aerial reinforcements because the First Order Jet Trooper is just completely different to the rest. The mechanics for the jetpack are completely different, and so are the abilities. Now, I still do think that the First Order Jet Trooper is an amazing reinforcement, very unique and very fun to use. Their jetpack tackle ability is a lot of fun, but it does feel a little bit clunky admittedly, and the tri-barrel launcher is a nice change up from the traditional rocket launchers found in other aerial reinforcements. And I just think that you really can't go wrong with the First Order Jet Trooper. I do think that they are easily the best aerial reinforcement in Battlefront 2, but that's obviously just my opinion. And coming in at the number 8 spot is the ARC Trooper. Now, the ARC Trooper has been one of the better reinforcements since they came into the game. The changed mechanics for the dual wielding in Battlefront 2 does of course affect the ARC Trooper. They did also get a new ability in the recent update. Instead of the Power Blast, you now have the Toggle Weapon ability, which allows you to change between slow and fast rates of fire depending on what you need, which is a really cool change. Also, the Shock Trap ability and Helmet Scanner, they are great to use, so no complaints there. Now, the ARC Trooper is a little lower on the list than it has been in the past, not because they've gotten worse, but a lot of the other reinforcements have actually been quite improved. So although the ARC Trooper has slid down my rankings a little bit, I still hold them in very high regard. But now moving on to number 7 is the Commando Droid. Now, I have always thought the Commando Droid was a great reinforcement, and I still do. The Vibro Sword is great for going toe-to-toe with lightsaber heroes, which cannot be underestimated. Their smoke ability combined with their thermal vision also allows for you to pick off people that you can see but they can't see you, so that's always useful. But I do think that the Commando Droid's E5 blaster could use a little bit of recoil reduction or a small damage buff. But overall, the Commando Droid is really damn good. The enhanced dodges, they do make hitting the Commando Droid very difficult sometimes, and it's really good for getting out of danger. So overall, you really just cannot go wrong with the Commando Droid. They are easily one of the most well-rounded reinforcements in Battlefront 2. But just outside the top 5 at number 6 is the Wookiee Warrior. So the Wookiee Warrior has had a roller coaster of a ride through Battlefront 2's journey. At times they've been better than heroes, and at times they've kind of sucked and just been a one-trick pony. But I think they are just right the way they are now. Their bowcaster, although not always ideal because of its accuracy and spread, is undeniably really powerful. If you can hit people in the head 9 times out of 10 with the Wookiee's bowcaster, you're gonna have a pretty good time. Now their thermal imploder is as good as always, and the fortify and overload ability allows for the bowcaster spam in high traffic areas, which is just so fun all the time. The Wookiee Warrior for me is easily one of the better reinforcements in Battlefront 2, but I would like to see some changes to the bowcaster's mechanics, much like they changed Chewie's bowcaster. And now moving into the top 5, and at number 5 is the Clone Commando. We all love us some Clone Commando action. They have one of the more satisfying blasters in the entire game. The repulsor blast ability is also great to use, and it gives you a real fighting chance against heroes as it makes them very vulnerable, knocking them to the floor. As for their battle focus ability, it is great for that added damage reduction, and the anti-armor attachment is great for some splash damage carnage to either vehicles or helpless infantry. So the Clone Commando, in my opinion, is still one of the best reinforcements in Battlefront 2 easily. But at the number 4 spot is the brand new Ewok Hunter. This is probably the one a lot of people were waiting to see where it was going to be ranked. Now, I really did not think that the Ewok Hunters were going to end up being as good as they are, but they offer a bit of everything. The Ewok Hunter bow can actually be a really satisfying and powerful sniper. I think stats wise, it is actually like the best sniper in the game, which is just crazy. Now the bow is also a complete aimbot. You just hold the shoot button down the entire time you're alive as the Ewok and you hit all shots at close range. And when you combine that with the Valiant Horn, which increases attack damage and damage resistance, it's pretty insane what this little furball could do. Now also they are small, so they have that to their advantage as well, so it's very difficult to hit them just like it is with Yoda. Maybe not as difficult as Yoda, but still very difficult. And on top of all of that, they have wall hacks. So, you know, the Ewok Hunter is no joke as a reinforcement. It's surprisingly one of the best reinforcements in the entire game and really caught me off guard. But moving on to number 3 is the Sith Trooper. Now, I honestly love the Sith Trooper. I'm glad that they ended up being really powerful in this game because they look so damn cool, and it would have been a shame if they sucked. But anyway, the Oppression Grenade is a simple but effective ability for the Sith Trooper, as it's not only just a damage machine, but also delays the health regen of people that have been hit by it, and that's if the blast doesn't kill them. Also, their Seeker Tactics ability is great for getting your flank on, and the Combat Rush is amazing as it keeps you out of reach of enemy heroes, and when you've got Anakin to deal with, that can really save you. And their STW-48 blaster is amazing with its damage, and it's really fun and smooth to use. So the Sith Trooper for me is just a really well-rounded reinforcement and a ton of fun to use and one of my personal favorites. But moving on and coming in as the runner-up at the number 2 spot is the Ovissian Gunner. Now the Ovissian Gunner, of course, I did actually rank as the best reinforcement in Battlefront 2 2 months ago, but they have since been nerfed, but not to the point where they are bad or even average or even good, but just so they aren't quite the best in the game still. But regardless of the nerf, they are still insane to use. The anti-armor mode is really good to use against vehicles and splash damage the hell out of people you can't get a clean shot on. The defensive stance is also just still ridiculous. It's an ability that allows you to become a damage sponge and just melt anyone you see. And as for the charge ability, it is clunky, but I've found it makes a better way to escape from danger rather than inflict it. And I mean, sentries are just ridiculous in Battlefront 2, and the Ovissian Gunner is centered around that, so naturally, they are insane as reinforcements. But coming in as the best reinforcement in Battlefront 2 is the Death Trooper. Now the Death Trooper received a fair number of changes in the latest update that has just elevated them to the next level. Obviously this is just my opinion, but I genuinely believe they've always been a top tier reinforcement. But this update really did put them that level above. There are new changes to the Sonic Imploder, giving it a concussion effect as well as the damage, so that works very well. Now they also got their blaster replaced with the E11D, which everyone seems to be really loving. It is a very powerful blaster, and it's nice that they have their proper blaster now. And also in the recent update, their overload ability was also changed. It doesn't have movement reduction anymore, which has just made them even better and makes it easier to inflict mass amounts of damage with their new blaster. I have just had so much fun over the past couple days using the Death Trooper, and in my opinion, they are the new best reinforcement in Battlefront 2 due to the changes made in the recent update. But that is of course just my opinion. Be sure to let me know yours down in the comments section below. It's okay if you disagree with this list, it is just mine after all. There is no correct list. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below your favourite reinforcements. Now if you guys did go on to enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like as it does help get these videos out there, and if you are new around here then absolutely feel free to subscribe to the channel for more Star Wars gaming content. But this has been a really long video, so that's going to do it for me today, so thank you all for watching and I'll talk to you all again in the next one.